Hey, hello everybody. This is Alan Greenstein, the Supporter Hashtag Creatives podcast. Tonight we are so happy to have Christina and Elliot of Mission Road, and we will be introducing them shortly. But first, I have to always remember to introduce myself. So I'm Alan Greenstein, the founder and producer of Support Our Hashtag Creatives. The goal of the organization is to level the playing field for underrepresented creatives and artists so that they have the same opportunity as everybody else to get their works created, distributed, and seen. I'm also on the board of directors of the Bella Levy Foundation. The goal of the Bella Levy Foundation is to fight human trafficking and provide a safe haven for its warriors. Once again, I'm so happy to present Christina and Elliot of Mission Road. Can you please introduce yourself and we'll be on our way?
Well, I'm Christina.
Christina Alexander.
Yes. Who are you?
I'm Elliot Simon. We live in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Christina lives on one end of the mountain outside of Harpers Ferry, and I live on the other.
And together we are Mission Road.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So why don't you tell us your origination stories? I mean, how did you hook up and come to have the group Mission Road?
We met in church. We were both going to the same church in northern Virginia. It's in Lovettsville, actually. And a mutual friend introduced us. I was playing in the band, playing keyboard. And friend said, Christina's a good singer, and she knows that I was playing keyboard. But then, of course, nothing happened until... Want to take it up?
Well, that's really a brief summary. Anyway, so that's how we originally met. We were introduced. Neither one of us were really interested in working with the other person because we had our own life stuff going on. And so the pandemic happened, and about 3 years, I guess that's about 3 years after we first met, we ran into each other at a little hole-in-the-wall bar and restaurant in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And I walked in, Elliot was already there, and he was like, hey, aren't you the lady from church? And I was like, yeah. He's like, don't you sing? And I was like, yeah. So we got to talking, and
I asked for her phone number.
That was on the way out. I was already like leaving. So he likes to skip the good parts of the story.
Yeah.
We had finished our meals. We weren't like sitting together or anything. And I was like, okay, time for me to go home. So I go out the door, and here comes Elliot running after me into the parking lot like a creep.
Wow.
Asking me for my phone number.
Well, because I thought we could finally meet musically.
Yep. So I give him my phone number, and just like a typical male, he writes the phone number down wrong. So many months go by. We run into each other again at the same little hole-in-the-wall restaurant. And, of course, it became my fault because he said I didn't give him the right phone number.
Well, I thought you might not want me to call.
So actually, he transposed the phone number. He got the correct phone number, and then the rest was history.
Yeah, well, I said, I called her up. I said, why don't you come down and, to the rehearsal studio and let's see if there's anything here in terms of, musically. And we're actually in that rehearsal studio right now, where it all began.
Yeah.
And she started singing, I started playing, and magic started happening. And here we are almost 5 years later. and we can't believe how well it's going, actually. But I like what you said about leveling the playing field, because when you're an independent who's not signed to a major label, it is very hard to get yourself noticed. So we really appreciate people like you who help people like us, get some attention.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. Yes, that's what I do. And we'll be talking more about taking advantage of various connections and networking stuff like that a little bit later. But that is so true, and the kind of guests I really like to have on for that reason. That we can try to have a bigger audience. Maybe people who haven't heard of you before will now know more about you and want to pursue see what your music is all about. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's see. So let's talk about the kind of the genres that you perform for Mission Road. Now, what I read, it's country music with influences that include pop, roots rock, and Americana. So now, the thing that really drew my attention was the roots rock. Can you tell me what that's about? What is roots rock?
Well, yeah, because back in the day, back in the 50s, rock and roll and country were kind of, there was a blurry line between the two.
Yeah.
And there were artists like Jerry Lee Lewis and Elvis Presley that
Yes.
kind of, they kind of they had one foot on one genre and another foot on the other genre. So that's really what roots rock is, and we love doing some of the old roots rock songs. The Jerry Lee Lewis stuff. We do a couple of his songs, and we do a couple of Chuck Berry songs. I would consider him to be roots rock, and it's a blend of rock and roll and country, and with probably a little bit of blues, I guess, and other. It's a real blend, rockabilly,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
folk.
See, yes. And so you mentioned some of your male musical influences like Jerry Lewis and Elvis and such. And what about, do you have any female influencers from over the years?
Oh yes.
My female influences would be the one and only Patsy Cline,
Yeah.
Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn. You jump a couple decades after that, we have Martina McBride, and into the pop world, like Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, those big, powerful vocalists. That's what I always wanted to be. That's what I worked really hard to become. And good old women of country music.
You're getting there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. I mean, it's good to know that all the old timers have influenced you this way. It shows that they really have had lasting power over the decades.
Oh yeah.
Hank Williams.
Wow. Yeah.
People don't realize just how great a songwriter Hank Williams was. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I write so far the originals that we've done have been written by me, but recently we've started writing together, and we have 2 songs now that are going to be on the upcoming EP, or if we get enough material together in time, it'll be a full album. But we've written a couple of songs together.
Oh, okay. That's
So
fantastic.
we have one album out, which I think we'll be talking with you about, but we're currently also in the recording studio again, working on album number 2.
Oh, fantastic.
Lots of music going on around these parts.
Yeah, as you say, we'll definitely be touching on all that. And I think we will begin with the current album, All I Want to Say. And with your permission, what I'd like to do now is to play the music video for All I Want to Say.
Please.
That'd be great.
Okay, so give me a moment. I have to press some buttons and get it up, and then we will proceed. Okay, let's see.
Looking out the window at the day. The more I look, the more I seem to find I'll never find the words that I must say to free the feeling trapped inside my mind. All I wanna say is that I love you. All I wanna say is that I care. And whenever I am thinking of you, it almost feels as if you're really there. You're not the kind to wait too long, but I'm not the kind to say those words too much. And words of love are not an easy song for someone who would rather feel your touch. All I wanna say is that I love you. All I wanna say is that I care. And whenever I am thinking of you, it almost feels as if you're really. I guess that's really all I've got to say. My thoughts are running much too far away. I let my heart go spinning like a wheel. I guess I'm to tell you how I feel. All I wanna say is that I love you. All I wanna say is that I care. And whenever I am thinking of you, it almost feels as if you're really there. It almost feels as if you're really as if you're really here.
Okay. I hope that the song came through okay, able to hear it and everything.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it came
Okay,
through
very,
well.
very good. I'm glad about that. So we're going to talk about your influences, what made you decide to come up with this particular song after a brief commercial message. So hold on a moment. We'll be right back. I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Hashtag Creatives. At Support Our Hashtag Creatives, I offer a number of services to support those developing a project. Check out the services tab of my website at supportourcreatives.com. If you are interested, please use the contact tab on my website or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. And we're back. Okay. So tell us about your motivation. What led to this particular song? All I Want to Say.
Well, as a young man, I remember being very shy, and it was very hard for me to even ask a girl for a date. But so there was somebody in particular, that I wrote the song over, and of course that was a while ago. And then, some years later, I wrote the song when I remembered back of that time in that relationship. So it's just really about unrequited love and how hard it is sometimes to express yourself when you really need to.
I can never imagine you being shy. You're a walking billboard. Like, everybody in this area knows Elliot. That's just like, what?
Now I am, but at the time it was.
What are you kidding?
It's hard to believe, it's for people that go out and perform, right? It's hard to believe sometimes that a person could also be shy.
See, it's funny because when I started recording that song, I think that song can fit into anybody's life. Not necessarily about not being able to just say the words "I love you" to somebody because you're shy,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that maybe if you are a wife of somebody in the military that's overseas, perhaps, and all she wants to do is be able to look you in the eye and say "I love you," or maybe the passing of a spouse or a sister or best friend, and you're mourning over them, and you just want to say "I love you," but you can't. So I think that this song can relate to so many different people.
And with Valentine's Day coming up on Friday,
Oh yeah,
it's kind of appropriate for the season.
Yeah. I just want to tell you how much I love you.
Right.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So this song is being heavily promoted right now. What kind of promotion are you doing for the song?
Well, we have somebody that we love dearly and who's been working with us now for, what is it?
Over a year,
Yeah,
Mr. Caden Gordon.
Yeah.
Of course.
And he's been helping us with the promotion. And then Christina's very talented with the graphics and things like that. And she does posts on Facebook, and she does posts on Instagram, and I take care of X, which used to be called Twitter, and she also does TikTok videos.
And Elliot's really good with the Spotify promotions.
Yeah. And right, so there's ways in which you got to pitch your song to curators. Back in the day, radio used to be the gatekeepers for getting people exposed and get their music exposed to the public. And now the gatekeepers are the curators of lists for Spotify and Apple Music and the other ones like Tidal or even Pandora. So what you have to do is you have to pitch the song to the playlist curators, and they're now they're the ones who are kind of holding the strings.
Mm-hmm. Where they put you on that list?
Yeah, we wound up on some lists with some pretty popular artists, so we've been very blessed and lucky that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you mentioned Caden Gordon, and from what I know of him, he's definitely a force to contend with in the industry.
Yes.
He's amazing. He just left the teenage years. He had a birthday this month, so
Yeah,
he's an extraordinary person, and I'm like, well, I'm very grateful that we got to meet him. Christina was promoting our third single from the album. Actually, all I want to say was the first one, and it's the title track, of course. But there's a song on that album called "Used to Drink Whiskey," and Christina was promoting it on Facebook, and there was a swing singer out there that heard it and liked it. It actually she was able to promote it to the point where it got over 10,000 views on Facebook and listens. So he and I kind of struck up a dialogue because he liked the song and he wanted to get in touch with the songwriter. And he's the one who knew Caden, and he introduced us. And very grateful to him for that. And because our relationship with Caden has really been a shot in the arm for our music endeavor and our journey.
yeah, nice. Yeah, in fact, I was actually interviewed by Caden myself.
Oh.
Yeah, and he has referred to a lot of a lot of groups and singers that he recommended. So I'm little by little I'm stepping my way through them, and that's how that's how I found out about you, because he recommended you and everything. So it happened. Yeah.
That's our musical child.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, he calls Christina his music mommy.
And yours,
Oh.
music daddy.
Wow, that's something. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that he was that young, but wow, it's amazing what he's done.
Yes, he has an amazing career that he's already been building, and his future is so bright. That guy impresses me every day.
Yeah.
There's a way of connecting with people. He's got an infectious personality.
Yeah, yeah, and I know it was possibly a couple of weeks ago that he was on the Danny Perro show,
Mm-hmm.
and Christina, you were on there too. I was on vacation at the time, so I didn't get to see it, but I'll have to watch the replay. And
I was on there sending like little hearts and
yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
In fact,
So
we're going to be in Nashville next week.
next Monday.
Wow.
We're playing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Nashville, and we're going to be down there with Caden.
Nice. This is so exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we are excited.
Yeah. So, well, what was your very first song?
Who?
The very first song that we released on the album.
Or just in general.
Oh, the very first song I ever wrote? Oh my goodness.
Something I haven't heard yet.
Oh.
Well, the first song you wrote, you told me you were 4 years old.
Yeah, that's true. Because my dad was a songwriter, and I used to sit in his office and try to write songs.
Yeah.
Gosh, so my first song was called "The Lonely Boy," and my dad said, actually, the other person who was in the office, when I sang it to them, they said, "Oh, let's get Paul Anka to record it." That's all.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the first song. The first song that we ever did together was a song called "I Love Your Way," which is another song that would be good for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And "I Love Your Way," we entered that one in the World Songwriting Awards, and it was a finalist in the folk category.
Hmm.
I thought that was interesting.
Well, you are an ex-folkie,
I am.
so why would that be interesting? You're silly. He
Well,
used to be a folkie with his long hippie hair.
but yes, I was. Yes, I did. Yep. I had hair down to my waist at one
I know. I've seen the pictures.
point. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So, you mentioned that both of you are songwriters in Mission Road.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
and Christina, actually, this is surprising to me because I never felt comfortable writing with somebody else. To me, it was a very personal journey, and and I would start with a lyric, and I would start with an idea, but I feel very comfortable writing with Christina, and she's got a lot of talents in a lot of different areas.
Well, thank you. So do you.
Mm.
First time that we wrote a song together, I was a little bit nervous because I used to write by myself.
Oh,
And I never wrote
okay.
with anybody either. And I would take whatever, like, I've lived a hard life. So I would sit in my room with a notebook and I'd be like, okay, I'm mad because of this. And I would just start writing a song about whatever I was mad about or whatever I was upset about. Or, like, my ex-husband at the time left his dirty laundry all over the bedroom and it just made me mad. So I wrote a song about doing dishes and doing laundry and like kind of what a classic country song would sound like. And so that's the kind of songwriting that I would do, just about everyday life. And so when Elliot and I started writing our first song together, I was like, he's not gonna like my silly little sad but serious, maybe sometimes angry songs. But we actually work really well together in the songwriting area. So
Yeah, I was really surprised. Trust me, it's not something that comes naturally to me.
you did great. He has such a skill as a lyricist that because I'm country, you can hear I'm country. I would say something so backwoods and country, and Elliot would just find the most beautiful way to put it out into the song. It's like, oh yeah, that's what I meant.
Well, my late father was a lyricist.
Yes, and he had quite a successful journey himself.
He had some success, yeah. Not as much as he had hoped, but he did all right. He had a song that was recorded by Nat King Cole that did well.
And Brooke Benton.
And Brooke Benton, yeah. That was back in the day.
So you were born to be a songwriter.
Mm,
Yeah.
I do
Well,
believe that.
yeah. Oh, Elliot, tell me a little bit about your experiences in New York City.
Mm. Well, that's where I was born and raised. And when I was ready to go to college, I went off to Chicago, and so it was actually in Chicago that I first started playing music. I was part of a duo back then with a woman named Lucy Kaplansky, and we used to play the clubs in Chicago, and then and one of the clubs was owned by or co-owned by Steve Goodman, who was a really great songwriter, and then we came to Greenwich Village, back home, at least for me, and we started playing clubs in Greenwich Village. And we were part of the folk scene, and we did okay. And then we broke up, and I actually joined a rock band briefly, and then I discovered country music. I mean, I'd been listening to country music for all my life, and I loved Merle Haggard and Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and all of the classics, and Loretta Lynn, like you, Tammy Wynette, all great, great stuff. So, but I even when I came here to West Virginia, I played keyboard for a singer-songwriter who was basically a folk musician. But he did some country. He did. He blended some of the classics in there, as well as his own songs. But I really wanted to get out on my own, and when I teamed up with Christina, it gave me the opportunity.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Christina, what are your musical experiences outside of Mission Road?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to be a singer. And so when I was like 3, 4 years old, I would run around the house. This is back in the 80s where you had like the big old boom box, you know, that you could carry on your shoulder. Or for like little kids, I had a pretty pink one, and I would like run around the house and listen to New Kids on the Block over and over again. And so I would go up to my room, and there was a little record button, and I would record myself singing just random stuff, like ideas that would fly through my head, or, you know, like those girl clapping songs, like, you know, Miss Lucy had a steamboat and stuff like that. And I would like run downstairs and be like, Daddy, listen, I sang this for you. So I always knew I wanted to be a singer. When I was a teenager, I became a karaoke queen. And I would sing karaoke anytime I had a chance. And I found myself just joining a rock band myself. Just any way that I could work with live musicians and perform in front of people, maybe learn something along the way. And that was all right, but my heart wasn't there. My heart was in country music, and that's where I knew I belonged. And so when I ran into Elliot, it was just meant to be. I told him, I tried to chase him off from working with me. A lot of musicians, they're like, what kind of music do you like to sing? And I would say country. And they're like, great. And they get me in the band, and then they didn't actually want to do country music. So I told Elliot, I only want to do country music. I don't want to do any rock and roll. He's like, great. And I'm like,
I called your bluff.
I'm like, I don't really believe this. So, but when we played around and rehearsed the first time, it was country music, and
But
great.
You do some, we do a couple of rock songs, even a couple of rock ballads.
We do.
Yeah, but really, Christina's a country girl, and that is her wheelhouse. And I got to tell you, when the first time I heard her sing, I understood that she had a lot of talent because she has a wonderful voice.
Thank you.
That's something, that's God-given. And we worked hard. We spent a year like rehearsing almost every day, and
Bless your heart for putting up with that. there's some horror stories behind the rehearsing, and
no, well, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, look at where we are now.
Elliot became my music teacher, my mentor, and he's my best friend. So.
That's
nice.
Nice to hear.
Yeah. So tell me about awards that you have won.
Oh
Mission
boy.
Road.
Oh my. All right. Well, we told you about one, the World Songwriter Association, World Songwriter Awards. There's a song that's gotten 2 recognitions. That's Going Through the Motions. We earned a band single of the year
through the International Singer-Songwriters Association.
Yeah, that was last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that song also was a finalist for Traditional Country Song for the Elite Music Awards. And the album, the Elite Music Awards placed it 4th in their, they get, hundreds and hundreds of submissions. And our album placed 4th, which I thought was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine there was a better album. No.
I can't either.
Sorry.
Just joking.
Yeah. No,
well, that's great. Yeah.
Well, we got some other accolades, our last single, which was I'm Holding On, shot up to number 2 on the top Hot 100 indie list.
The Indie World Charts, the Hot 100, it went to number 2.
And our current single that So in 1 week, it shot up to number 19 on the Hot 100.
Wow.
Hot 100. That was a shocker.
In a week. That was amazing.
Yeah. It is. It's congratulations on the awards, and more to come, I'm sure. Yeah. And there's okay. Want to say hi to Randy Greenstein. That's my wife. She's tuning in.
Hi,
Thanks,
Randy.
Randy, for joining. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hi, Randy.
So let's see. So, where are your songs typically played? Is it on regular radio, streaming? What's the big thing for you these days in terms of your music being played?
Well, that's one of the things that Caden has gotten done and what he's really good at. He submitted our songs to thousands of radio stations, and some of them have their own charts as well. We hit number 1 on a couple of those charts. What was
Wow.
Well, we've been at like number 4 and 5 at Fresh Cuts Radio.
Right.
Number 1 at the Caden Gordon Show.
And Fresh Cuts.
Yeah. We were within the top few with the ISSA or the Rick Spin Show. So I can't remember them all.
Yeah. And so we get played on hundreds and hundreds of internet radio stations.
All over the world. We have one of our songs was doing really, really well in France. So
and in Australia.
In Australia, we have a station in New Zealand that we don't even need to send them any music. They just like look up what Mission Road on YouTube, and they just start pulling songs off and they play it live on the air. So it's really awesome.
They played a couple of album cuts that we haven't released as singles. So,
they did, yeah.
And that was very nice.
Yes.
So, and then we are being played on some FM stations as well. There's a station out in the Bay Area in California. And in fact, we're trying to organize a little mini tour in Southern California, in the LA, San Diego area. And then there's a station in, there's one in Australia, but there's New Mexico. And then there's a few others around. It's very, very hard to get play on terrestrial, what's called terrestrial radio stations.
Oh, we were just on a radio station yesterday in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned about terrestrial radio being the toughest thing to get on, but then all of a sudden you discover that you are popping us on this radio station somewhere in the country. Amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. A lot of times we don't even know if we're being played.
But you check your
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an app that kind of tells me, but if that station reports it.
I think that's very interesting, that you're played someplace, but you might not necessarily know about it right away.
Exactly right. Which is, that's one of the wonders of this business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's amazing. Well, the fact that we have all these different outlets these days where your music can be heard, right? So whether it be on terrestrial radio or streaming or whatever it is, there's so many more opportunities these days to get your music heard.
Yes, there is, but you realize that Spotify is one of the important outlets to get your music played and streamed, and they also kind of make it tough on indie artists because
they don't pay much.
Yeah, they certainly don't pay much. But we've managed to get with our 4 or 5 singles that are up there on Spotify. Well, now it's 5. Over 400,000 streams. So that's not inconsequential. I mean, it's not like some of these, rap and hip hop artists.
We're not Lainey Wilson or Jelly Roll yet.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
We get millions and millions of streams,
Yeah.
40 million, 50 million.
I just think it's amazing how this whole thing works. With the monetization and the number of clicks and all that sort of stuff. It's a lot of it I don't quite understand myself, but that's what the way it is these days.
Everything is like, follow, share.
And it's the
Yeah.
competition is fierce.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you realize that there are 100,000 songs uploaded to Spotify every day?
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Think of percentages, right? Oh my goodness, if you're
The nerdy cowboy over here.
well,
Think of percentages.
it's really hard. It's really hard to get people's attention when there's 100,000 songs uploaded every day.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely amazing. Yeah.
That's why we have people like Caden, and social media is amazing. Social media has become such a huge tool in any artist's success.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's
Yep.
essential.
That's true for all of us, even those who aren't in music. Same thing. Yep. Yeah. Wow. That is something. Yeah. So when let's talk about your live performances. What kind of venues do you typically go to for your live performances? And also is it just in the Harpers Ferry area, or is it in other states? Whatever. What's your range of live performances?
Well, we love to play anywhere that'll hire us. I mean, we even play some places for free just because we like the people. But
and also because it's good exposure.
But we play anywhere, whether it is a restaurant, a bar, a honky tonk, a winery, a brewery.
On Friday, we're going to be playing at a very large local brewery, Bluemont Station. We play at a local restaurant here once a month. But then we also go out and play. We have a circuit that we've been doing down in South Carolina, which is where Christina's parents live.
And we've played a good bit down in Nashville at this point.
Yeah.
We've even shot all the way up to Massachusetts and played at a big festival for Caden. So.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Yeah, but all throughout this quad state area, we play festivals. We played the Crossroads Festival a couple of times, which is for support of public schools, and we were the host band the second year. And then the Harpers Ferry Moonshine Festival, and then the local venues around here, like the Barn and Harpers Ferry, will be playing there in April. And
we play a lot in Virginia as well, the wineries and restaurants. So
yeah, anywhere that'll have us, because we just want to get out in front of people. But our next project, though, in fact, we were talking to somebody that we think might be able to help us do this, is we want to start playing in concert settings, in theaters and in auditoriums, and hopefully eventually stadiums. But we want to do a concert type tour to promote the album. And
wow.
Yeah, thank you. And we've got some people working on that for us. Kate.
That is fantastic. And okay, so we're gonna stop for a brief commercial, and we will be right back with some more questions.
Great.
I'm Alan Greenstein, founder and producer at Support Our Hashtag Creatives. If you make something, albeit make a movie, start a business, write a book, make a physical product, run a nonprofit, promote people, are a songwriter, etc. You too are a creative, and I would love to have you be a guest on the Support Our Hashtag Creatives podcast. If you want to be featured on this podcast, please use the contact tab on my website at supportourcreatives.com or email me directly at alan@supportourcreatives.com. All right, we are back. So, tell us about your future projects.
Well, we're currently in the studio recording. We haven't decided if we're going to put out a couple different EPs or if we're going to put out a full-length album yet. You guys will have to stay in touch with us to find out. Or follow us on one of our social media platforms. So right now we've got 4 really great tracks down at the studio. We've just started with very basic. We've got the piano part down. We've got the vocal part down. Pretty soon we're going to have our bass player, Paulie, come in and lay down some bass. But we're looking at putting out like what, a 5-song EP for starters.
5 or 6.
And it's going to be really fun. So, matter of fact, we're going to go there tomorrow. The name of the studio is Creative Age Studios in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And Joe House is an amazing guy.
He's the engineer and owner of the studio, and he does the sound for the Hollywood Casino in Charlestown.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've heard of that.
So when
Yeah.
Travis Tritt comes and he's putting on a big old show, Joe's working the sound, making him sound perfect. So.
Well, wish you all the luck with your projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, do you have any advice for our viewers who might want to get into the musical arena?
Why don't you start with that?
I love this question because I always say if I'm to give advice to some person that's trying to get into the business, the first thing I say is, don't do it unless you absolutely have to. If it's in your blood and it's something that you can't really consider yourself to be a fully fulfilled person unless you're doing this, then you do it. And then what you do is you do it and you don't worry about, failure. In fact, we just watched the movie October Sky a couple of days ago. And all the rockets that they tried to send off, it's about some kids from West Virginia, Homer Hickam and the Rocket Boys. Wonderful, wonderful movie. But you go ahead.
So, what I love to tell people is to fail a million times, fail until it's no longer possible for you to fail. Because the more times that you fail, the better you're going to get. And from every experience, no matter how embarrassed you are, no matter how bad it hurts, no matter how much you think you may suck, you are going to learn something from that experience. And you're going to come to a point where all of your failures have added up to you being fabulous. And so just ignore the negativity. Like if people tell you, you can't sing, you can't play guitar, you can't do this. Or if you're like an artist and you're drawing a picture and they're like, oh, that sucks. Okay, well, beauty beauty comes from the artist's eyes, right? And the artist's heart. So just keep doing what you're doing. Ignore everybody else's opinion of you. Focus on what you love to do and just keep on doing.
Which is one of the songs on the album. But it's funny because I even witnessed it where people have told Christina, give up, you don't have it, you don't have what it takes, you can't sing, and all of that. But she stuck to it, and I can't understand how they felt that way, to be honest with you, because that's the first thing I heard when she opened her mouth to sing, is how wonderful her voice is.
You've had people come to you and say to you, what are you doing working with this girl? She can't sing.
Well, you were nervous, and you were at the time, and all you needed was a little confidence in yourself because you can do it, and I knew you could do it, and so now you're doing it. So it's great.
But and something else I want to add to, as a piece of advice, I went my whole life wondering, what is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? Whatever you are supposed to be doing is what you can't stop thinking about. If you can't stop thinking about music, that means that you were born to be a musician. If you can't stop thinking about drawing photos or taking photos of photography or being a mechanic or learning how to build stuff, whatever it is, if you can't stop thinking about, that's what you are destined to do. So follow it.
And her father's a mechanic.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel about my podcast, by the way.
There you go.
That's my thing. Yeah.
But I like your ad, by the way, the one that we just saw. There's that very nice piano in the background.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. One of those virtual backgrounds. Yeah.
It's dear to my heart.
Yeah. So let's see. So how can people get in touch with you?
So we have
Thought you'd never ask.
we finally have a beautiful website that's been built. Our website is missionroadmusic.com. People can get a hold of us through our email, which is missionroadduo@gmail.com.
And if they get in touch with us through the email, we can figure out how to get them a physical compact disc of our album.
They can follow
wow.
us or message us on all of our social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even LinkedIn now, right?
Yeah, but if
At
you,
Mission Road Duo.
but if you, well, it's on LinkedIn for me. It's Elliot Simon is my account. But if you go to linktree.com/Mission Road Duo, that'll show you all the links to all of our social media.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a lot to remember. So I just tell people to use the handle Mission Road Duo.
Yeah, that's
And they'll find us.
That's consistent through all of the social media.
Okay. Very nice. Well, I'd like to thank both of you for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having us.
It was a great experience. You know, we're always I love learning about how people such as yourself, you know, do what you do, how you got your start, what your plans are. Great success, and we see great successes coming. So it's really fantastic. I'm glad I could, as I said, spotlight people that like that.
We are too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I just want to remind people that that ultimately the episodes of the podcast make it onto Spotify and your other favorite streaming platforms. So everybody be on the lookout for that. And with that, I'm going to say good night, everybody. Okay.
Here's a message about Crystal Starnes, advocate for victims, and podcaster.
Are you an entrepreneur, actor, music artist, or someone trying to make a difference in the community, or have a story that could help someone suffering in silence? If your answer is yes, then you need to check out Crystal Starnes' various podcast shows that she produces and hosts. Come on one of her shows and make a difference. Promote your business on her platforms. Ask her about package deals to get your brand more noticed. Want a commercial about your business done by her voice? She also offers package deals for that service. You can find her at crystalstarnshow.com and voiceforvictimsradio.com. Also, if you want access to all her podcast shows and blogs, join her community awareness page for just $4.99 a month. That's right, just $4.99 a month. Then you would have access at a click of a button to her various platforms. Crystal Starnes is trying to make a difference for all people in the world. She wants to help as many people as she can so no one is suffering in silence. Anyone who has a vision and wants to achieve their dream, she has the passion to help promote you to get you to the next level of success.